we've created this video, or kind of in the midst of it, but been working on this video called the 7 Principles of Enlightenment Within an Exercise. You could say the 7 Principles of Enlightenment Within a Downward Dog, or 7 Principles of Enlightenment Within a Push-Up. And the first one is we call it me time. It's the time that we're with ourselves, that we've carved out some time to do something good for us. Exercise is something good for us, obviously, but we're carving out time here to understand ourselves deeper. Like, carving that time out is important. It's actually, it feels precious because we don't seem like we have a lot of that me time in that sense. In the sense of, this is what we're looking to understand ourselves deeper, to find kind of what's beyond just this being, and what are we in? What's this all about? What's the connection between myself and others, and myself and the universe? Where do I land? And it's a place to tweak and play. I mean, when anyone who's meditated for a long time, it's a constant tweaking, right? We're trying to understand ourselves, and then we kind of get a flow of some sorts, like, oh, there it is, and then they may collapse, and where to go? Like, just not quite there the same way it was yesterday. But we take the time to do it again, to connect with ourselves. So this kind of me time is an important, very important part of us being human, to understand deeply who we are. Unfortunately, I don't think most people do this, and that causes a dilemma. We watched this Netflix original show called The Social Dilemma. Has anyone seen The Social Dilemma? The Social Dilemma is about the social media companies, Facebook, Google, Twitter, Instagram. And the idea was, these people who have been high-ranking individuals in each of these companies, and alongside that is this kind of juxtaposes this movie that's going in conjunction with what the experts are talking about. And it's interesting. It's this family with these three kids, and they are all kind of age where they have their smartphones 24/7 connected to their hip. But the movie is about how the social media companies are really pointing at more of a disrupting our lives. That's kind of the takeaway. Was social companies are here to monetize us and to disrupt us. Disrupt us from this me time, the time where we're looking to understand who we are. And you can't do that when you're on a smartphone on Instagram. Just will never happen. And yet, the interesting thing was, they had this young teenager boy who tries to he breaks his phone and tries not to look at it for, his mother says, if you can not look at this phone for 7 days, I will fix your phone. And I think day 1.5. And they have this backdrop of this, these virtual characters pretending to be like, the structure of, let's say, Facebook. And they're like, okay, he's not using our phone. How do we do something so he looks at his phone? And so they're figuring out, they're the computer, the back end, the AI, right? And they're trying to come up with ideas to get him to look at his phone, and they figure it out, and then bam, He looks at his phone and that's that. But the interesting thing is that this time with your phone seems to be quote unquote me time, right? We kind of like layered in there as part of who we are. We're spending time with ourselves when we're watching a movie or when we're on Instagram or any of these things. But obviously, we're not looking very deeply into ourselves. And that is a problem. And that's, this, I like the name social dilemma because there is a dilemma going on here. I remember when my awakening first arose, shortly afterwards, as I started to teach this, it was like, oh, wow, like here's this wave of AI and social media, even though it was just not at the level it is anywhere near what the level is today. But you guys still could see the arc of this speed of technology taking us over. And then once we get taken over, we become kind of slaves to the technology. And then we take no free time for ourselves to understand who we are. Because it takes time, doesn't it? I mean, it really takes time to understand who we are. That's why people go to these 10-day retreats or go up in the mountains to try to find themselves. I say go find yourself when you're doing an exercise, or go find yourself here. When you take the time to do this, 20, 30 minutes. I mean, some people, you like 30 minutes, you got to sit around and do nothing for 30, 40 minutes. Really? I'd rather be, I can do a lot in 30 minutes on my smartphone. But the whole structure, what they were saying is the whole structure, the back end is all about getting you caught in this device. And it's addicting. We know that. It's caused all kind of issues. I mean, I had no idea the name of this thing called QAnon, K-A or QAnon. I'd never heard of it until maybe a month ago when I was listening to PBS, and they're like, what? It's just a bunch of conspiracies throwing out on the web, right? Because there's nothing to stop all this. It just keeps coming relentlessly, right? Keeps coming relentlessly. And when you don't know who you are an easy target. So easy. And that's the problem, because it's so easy not to find yourself. That takes time to really understand who you are. You just don't wake up and say, oh, I know who I am. It just seems not to work that way, especially when we've been caught in the hustle and bustle of the world, trying to create and do and be and have. And so we lose track of this other part of us. So we're here like, stop, hold on. I need to be with myself, to understand myself, to connect with something deeper than myself, so that maybe I can take myself into this deeper place. But social dilemma, that's really is that it's trying to get us caught 24/7. And so it's shrinking. And what I saw when I was going through this process, I could see that for me as a teacher, at some level, it's good because it's forcing us quickly to wake up as a world. Because if we don't, we're going to get steamrolled by this thing. It's going to take us, and then it's going to be even more difficult to break free of it. Addiction, they're talking about the addictive part of it, that is such addictive thing because you're constantly getting this endorphin kick every time a notification shows up on your phone. So it's very addicting to kind of push us back into ourselves. But this kind of being with ourselves is not the kind of being with ourselves that we're here for. That being with yourself, when you're listening to the phone and you're looking at what's going on, it's all about ego and self, this self that doesn't know what's going on. So it's easy manipulated. It's incredibly easy to manipulate. It talks about manipulating countries. and how it can go in. You can buy yourself into manipulating and hurting the country just by this powerful tool. It doesn't take that much. And so you see the divisions happen here. Well, because everyone's on these devices. And it was interesting. If I type in, it was talking about if I type in anything, and if I put one word before that, like conspiracy of global warming, just to check it out, guess what? I start getting hit with that. Even though I'm just searching for it, just to look at it, and then I start getting constantly bombarded with that news. And so if you're caught there, you just hear that news, you think that's the news it is. And over here, you're looking at scientific information about global warming, and then you're getting this stuff. And you're looking at these people, how are they not seeing this? Because they're not getting that kind of information. Again, because it's splitting us apart. When you don't know who you are, it's easy to split apart. There's too many forces. When you are not rooted in this moment, it's so easy to get pushed outside of it. And when that happens, we have this divide. And again, we have a president who does the same thing. It's dividing us. But social media is doing the same thing at some level. It puts us into a group, and it puts this into this group, and it puts this into this group, and it puts this into this another group, and we're grouped up. We're just so grouped up in so many different ways that we've lost the totality of it, of who we are. And I don't know if this COVID is going to teach us that or not. I was hoping it would, at some level, that we like, oh my God, we're all like together. I don't care where you are in the world. You're affected at the same time, same moment. So it's interesting to notice that this division is being caused not only by ourselves, but by this undercurrent of information directed at us to help us to kind of divide us. Even if we're right, even if it's scientifically right, you have a group of people over here who don't see it that way. When you connect really at this place of taking me time and understanding a deeper level of what this moment contains, well then really it doesn't matter how it all works, in the sense of who am I on a deeper level versus what I think I am, and then I'm going to get information that way to blow me up even more, balloon my thoughts, balloon my beliefs even more. Here we're trying to get rid of those beliefs, free ourselves from these beliefs, so we have a moment of presence, not filled with anything. That's the power of what you're doing here. To sit within ourselves, to find out the truth without any information from anywhere else. Because that is fleeting news. It comes and goes. The place, this presence place, is not fleeting. And yet we keep getting caught in the fleeting news. But that comes and goes so quick. It's fast. So we can never find ourselves because it changes so quickly. So I commend everyone here for taking time to give me time, myself, to find out who I am. But we need more of this, or else we're going to get run over. And then it's going to be difficult. It's like the Matrix, really, where we're going to get pulled over so quickly, we don't even know what hit us. And then we're just subservient to information. And we'll pick sides. We're always going to pick sides. At the level of being human and easily manipulated, we're going to pick sides, period. That's all we know what to do. That's the only thing we know what to do. When you start to awaken, you stop picking sides. Not needed anymore. You love everything, everyone. You understand when they're not in this place of me space, of knowing who I am, and you love them because of it. And you're not caught in the thoughts and all the stuff that they've chosen to go this path, getting pushed around. And then you have ultimate power. not only with the people, but with yourself, connected to the universe, God, then things change. That's the only way it's going to change. It's not going to change through technology, and it's not going to change through social media. It's too divisive. It can also bring us together, but it can divide us just as quick. But this space, presence of being, of knowing, is not for sale. You can't click on me and change me. That's just not going to happen here. So I want to thank everybody. I love you all for being here. And I'm glad you're taking me time. Thank you. Changes everything. It's like interesting. If you don't have clarity, you get pushed around. And on social media, if you have no clarity there, you will be pushed in so many different rabbit holes. Anyone who's ever gone on YouTube or whatever, and they type in something, and all of a sudden it leads them to the one video, and they're off on a video. They have no idea why. How did I get here? Like, I mean, it's so easy to get pushed around when you're not clear. And clarity, you know, this is the whole thing of knowing thyself. And clarity starts to arise. And then you can use this social stuff for good, for power. It's really beautiful and fantastic. I love technology. I'm a technologist at heart. But when we're not clear, that's when we get into humongous trouble. And then we just keep going down these rabbit holes, just continues to take us down these places that how do we even get here? And why am I even in these places? Why am I watching this? I have no idea why I'm doing it. But then it just, like, again, you get addicted to it. They know how this thing, operates in the chemical level, and they'll just control the crap out of it until we wake up. But that's why I said the waking up process has to speed up now, because this thing is coming so fast. Information is coming faster and faster and faster. More data is coming at such speed that we mentally cannot keep up with it. And then if we only go that route, we're going to be subservient to it completely. And then it's going to be very difficult, because it's such an addictive thing that anyone who's had any addiction knows how difficult it is to let go of an addiction. It takes a lot of work. And it just gets even worse because it's compounded by this new thing that's just incredibly intelligent. I mean, it's getting smarter every day. AI, all these computers are getting smarter every day. At the level of thinking, it's way faster than we can think. So we have to bring in another part of us that's faster than that. And there is. The presence is faster than anything that any machine will ever create. Machines can go a certain speed, and they're going to cap out at a certain speed. But this present space is no speed. It doesn't even operate in speed. It doesn't need speed. It's so fast, it's instant. So I call it zero speed. It's much faster than any kind of speed, light speed even. That's the power of really getting to know ourselves deeply and pointing ourselves in this direction. But we need more of it, because we're getting smacked right now. We're getting divided. Well, the beauty about silence is that everything can come into you at the same time. That's what silence contains. Silence contains everything. That's silence. It just seems like it's nothing going on. Right. Actually, everything is coming in, versus singularly doing something. So there's such a power. I mean, it's such a powerful way of being, that inner silence. Even that inner silence. The thing about inner silence is not that you separate yourself from everything and just try to get into a silent place, but it's like the silence that you are when you're out in Manhattan or when you're doing things. That's like, you can have the sound of the music playing, but there's an inner silence. If you're connected to that inner silence as the music's playing or as you're doing this stuff, then you got it, because you're being fed through the universe, God, into the silent space, and then it comes up into this, and it gets manifested in all these different things. So you see the music coming from that silent place, and then it gets created into music. Then you got something. because then you're rooting in deeply into the silence. But out of that silence is this, you realize out of silence comes everything. But it's rooted first in silence before it comes out as noise, as music, as something. And that is really a powerful thing to connect to, knowing that that's the starting point to all realizations and any kind of thing that gets realized in form. Well, I'll leave you with one last thing that I at my Toastmaster Club, we did this inspirational quote, and I really liked this. I was searching, and this one's by Lao Tzu, obviously the Tao Te Ching, and it's very simple. He says, "Treat those who are good with goodness, and also treat those who are not good with goodness. Thus, goodness is attained. Be honest to those who are honest, and be also honest to those who are not honest. Thus, honesty is attained." So thank you so much. I love you all. Take care.